in and see, like, after sitting on it for a little bit, does it feel like we nailed it when it comes to the categories?
I
It
think
does. And
so.
by the way, I started recording.
Oh, great. Perfect.
Welcome to the value call for June 18th, 2020.
With Shawnee the G in a very distant tunnel.
Is it really that bad?
Yeah, you sound really far away.
It's so weird because I am literally using exactly the same camera.
Are you
Yeah.
using a mic that you don't think you're using?
I verified that, and I'm on a Linux computer, so perhaps I'll just switch over to a non-Linux computer.
Yeah. I'm on Linux, but it's also a pain in the ass on Linux in Zoom. Like, you have to change the input to both your system and next to the mute icon, like make sure the microphone is where you think it is. I found it doesn't respect my universal settings.
Where are you? Okay, I see the mute icon.
Yeah, there's a caret, like an up arrow next to the mute. If you click that and choose your microphone in either same as system or whatever device you actually want.
All right, I'll work on that while we. Oh, and I'm not showing video apparently right now.
No. Hey, there he is.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'll talk less while I figure this out.
Sure. Okay, well, if I could pass it to you, Matt G, like where I think where we left it off was a pull request is going to come in and recategorize. See some of that in, or where are you in that process?
Yep. So right now I've been doing the PRs mostly just to kind of get the narrative straight. You know what I mean? Just to kind of include to include the broader look. So I honestly think that we nailed the categories last time between community value, social value, organizational value, and individual value. Mm-hmm. So I think those are spot on. What I think we need to do right now first is, I'm going to share my screen again, is on the tracking spreadsheet.
Yeah.
So based on what we have released, because I think the goal is to keep the existing set of metrics that have been priorly released, and how we're going to recategorize them. And maybe we could spend some time in the spreadsheet today recategorizing them here, and then I can make a pull request to the README, which includes a table that shows these things. I didn't want to do that PR until we kind of agreed on it here, if that makes sense.
Good. So scrolling over that comment also reminded me that we did start to brush up against the is this working group the right one to be capturing these sort of common resources that I think Sean was mentioning, that the Kokomo one is being covered elsewhere.
Can you hear me better now, by the way?
Yeah, you sound a lot better.
I fixed. I made one small change. It was a really weird change. It was the same input device, but with some fancy words and things after it. So
you're actually very loud now.
Yeah, you can lean back, relax now.
So I can talk over you all and have my way.
That's right. There's no middle ground for you.
So I think the question is there a threshold of working groups that are working on a metric at which we throw it to common? So in the case of Forks, 3 different working groups were working on it, and so we threw it to common. In the case of Kokomo, there are 2 different working groups working on it. So do we throw that to common? And honestly, it doesn't really matter, except does the working group has to release the metric, right, for review.
Yep.
And so the question is, like with Forks, I don't think there'll be any trouble. Kokomo is more complex. Maybe there'll be trouble. I don't know. But we can always move metrics to different. Well, I don't know.
Sure. Yeah. Let's.
What do you want to do?
Let's stick to going through the release ones first, and then we'll tackle kind of the in progress one at a time.
I have a point of order. So last time we were working copy of value. And I think we already started reorganizing there.
Fair enough. Sorry.
We started reorganizing what? I didn't follow.
Oh, I was on the value tab here, and we last time we just copied this tab and started doing it all over here.
So we already have the new focus areas here.
Okay, so all right, so well, that solved that working point. So then I guess my next thing is basically just to submit a PR that's a table that just includes, you know, this heading, this kind of like what DNI does. Like, here's what we have released.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Okay. Well, I'll put that on my. I can probably do it during the call here.
Yeah. Okay, great. And yeah, in the copy of that explains so much. I couldn't see the bottom bar in my Zoom share, so I was like, didn't we organize this already? And in copy of value, we had the longer conversation of like, where does SCMS fit in? Where does job opportunity fit in? Labor investment. And we found like there is that social value category that we don't have a good metric that fits it, but we know it's something we want to care about. So we're going to save that space.
Yep.
Good.
Yeah, I think Matt and I are going to be working pretty intensely on that social value in the next 3 months.
Don't jinx it.
Don't jinx it. Right. Don't jinx it.
And I had reached out to Matt Broberg about this too. Just this is the potential grant stuff. Because we're being recorded, I won't talk about it too much, but
right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll cross the bridge when we get there. Good. All right. Well, with that in mind, you know, for me, like with this stuff going forward, does it make sense to start talking about the things that are in progress that we haven't made a decision on and say what category they fit in?
Yeah, I think that would be fair. And I do think just from a metrics release perspective, you know, the August 1st release, I don't think the working group should concern itself too much with trying to release a metric. I think the recategorization is a nice enough contribution this time around.
It's a huge refactor. And that's how we do have some metrics under consideration that we could see if they're getting to the point of ready or need to kind of hang out in that temporary state.
Yep. And they can be part of the continuous metric release cycle, like after August 1st.
Yeah. That's why we have the continuous metrics release cycle.
Yep. Good deal. Okay. So do you think working from that same spreadsheet is the most logical places to live as opposed to the repo?
Yeah, and at what point should we remove the old value tab and just work in, like maybe that could be another goal today, is just to have a single, because it even confused me until Gabriel pointed it out.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I'm ready to remove the old spreadsheet tab at the bottom.
Just be done with it.
Yeah, let's all do
everything that was there is captured in the new one.
Okay, cool.
Did you confirm that, like going through line by line? I haven't done that level of comparison yet.
No, I did not.
All right, everyone, take just a moment to like look through the two tabs, if you would, make sure we're not missing anything. Very. Yeah. Looks good to me. Gerg, would you like to do the honors?
Sure. I can delete the old one.
Delete the old one and add the new one. Oh. Okay. All right. I can't share my screen. I think you'd have to pass me some ownership or ownership.
There,
Meeting.
you should have it now. Yep.
Screen share. Now let's see if I figured out. I think I have to share my entire desktop. I'm going to do this. We're gonna successfully share things on Linux. So help me.
It's a nice Fedora background.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Good. Okay, look at that. We've got one value tab. I'm very okay with this. So maybe just starting from the top, like what do we have? Let's just double check the release ones first and foremost. So labor investment, and then let's just go to the repo. And so my thought here is like, let's take a look at each one and just make sure it's in a state where we're happy with it. And if it's not, like take a note on who's going to try to update it, make sure it's clear what the metric does. Does that sound reasonable?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So labor investment. So labor investment needs an update because it's still in archive mode, unless there's an existing pull request for it, which there is not. So, okay, to do. Add that to our meeting notes. Okay, labor investments. And looking at it real quick, now we know where to categorize it. So this needs to be basically unarchived. So
I think this is part of the pull request that Matt was talking about earlier, creating the focus area readmes.
oh,
I'm doing that right now.
okay. And Matt, were you planning to unarchive existing metrics in that process?
Yeah. So first, I'll just kind of do the README, and then we're gonna have to make a few kind of focus area landing spots.
Okay, then
off of that. So there's kind of I'm just doing the README at the moment.
Okay, then I'll avoid the redundancy of issues for each one of the metrics then.
So how about as far as I don't make it in this meeting today,
we'll get it after that. I feel you.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. So organize project skill demand, organizational project skill demand. Okay. Yeah, these four are all in there.
Matt G, are you working in the README in the root folder, or are you working on the focus area READMEs?
It was in the main folder.
Okay. Then I can start creating the focus area folders and READMEs.
Okay, because I was just following the DNI main README approach.
Yeah.
I will look at that as well.
I'm just taking a look at these metrics. I know we had some metrics merge in that still had a bunch of to-dos in them. So just want to make sure this kind of meets a decent standard. All the ones that are technically in the archive folder are good to add back. So that's awesome. I think the only thing that's still a gap right now is project popularity, has a bunch of TBD. Looks like the recommendation is to use Augur.
Augur can do it anyway.
Yeah, Augur can do it. Cauldron could too, right? I don't remember exactly how the tools overlap yet. Sean, is there a good reference on how somebody might review this stuff in Augur that would be helpful in updating project popularity?
Project popularity in Augur is, there are lots of different metrics that we could use. We could look at forks, we could look at clones, we could look at a number of contributors. Diversity of contributors. We have a number of certainly issue comments, pull request comments. Yeah, I'd have to go back and other than the things you have there, but we have
number of watchers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you made a great list, but not in the initial release candidate.
I did.
Oh no, Bernard did.
Yeah. So I mean, just the things I listed, I would add.
Okay.
I mean, stars and watching is sort of voyeurism, it's sort of Alfred Hitchcock style voyeurism on a project. Like I have a novel, I'm interested, but I'm not doing anything. I think popularity is more parsimoniously measured by the number of forks, the number of pull requests, the number of people actually contributing to a project.
That's not my impression in industry, at least. Like stars are the vanity metric that people like talk about more than anything. They don't say like, oh, we just hit 1,000 forks. They say, oh, we've got 10,000 stars. Like, and it's not that it means anything substantially on its own. It's that it's exactly what it is. It's a pass through for popularity. That
I would say that it's well, I guess it depends on what we see our role as. So obviously we've taken a strong stance to be agnostic in terms of how we interpret our metrics. So sharing stars is one thing. I don't know if we think we have a responsibility to identify metrics that are more or less easily gamed. And stars is certainly a metric that is more easily gamed than number of contributors, pull requests, or comments, right? Like it's a very low effort to tell all of your employees to go star a project. We're actually getting a contribution, I think is a more, so yeah, if you're right, in industry stars matter, but it's actually the more popular developers and where they go, the paper that Kelly Blinko and I did that indicate where the popularity of a project is. So it's not really the stars on the project, it's the people following developers and the projects that those developers go that are a signal of where the popular projects are going.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's really, it's fundamentally like, what role do we want to take in differentiating between metrics that are easily gamed compared to metrics that are less easily gamed? I don't have an answer. But...
No, I'm kind of interested in reframing the question because I think while like we don't necessarily need to be a moral compass to the use of metrics and gaming of them,
well, it's not even moral. It's like engagement. It's like what does a metric mean? It's like definitional, right? So if we're saying that a popular project is one with more stars, we're making a value judgment.
Yeah, which a value judgment is a moral judgment in a sense of what is worth something. Yeah. So, but anyway, this isn't philosophy class, so we can move on. But the thought was, I love the idea of anchoring it in research, though. Like, you've done the research, and is there a system by which, like, I don't know, like, if project popularity, if the intention of it doesn't seem originally, there wasn't much intention. It's a bunch of TBDs. So, is the idea of like, does your project attract like popular contributors? Is that something that is that something possible to capture?
It's more, yeah, the finding is more along the lines of users who are followed a lot. When they move projects, they bring the popularity with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, so when it comes to project, I think project popularity is there's a lot of value judgment in deciding what is popular. And I guess I'm just saying that corporately, if stars have become the accepted metric, we can reflect what is currently the case, or we can create a discussion around what popularity means, because I think popularity is a multi-dimensional construct.
Yeah.
So is the question whether to use the word popularity here?
I mean,
no, I think it's like what metric does popularity actually lean on?
Yeah, I would just want an icon of Casey Kasem if it's stars, right? Like as part of this metric.
So I mean, part of me is like, I mean, a lot of our metrics. I mean, I agree. We're trying to be agnostic as we can.
But we also want to be valid.
Yeah, and some of the metrics kind of like if we have a metric around inclusion, that would imply that inclusion is good. I think I mean, there's kind of written into that.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we want to optimize that. We've decided it's valuable.
Right. And I mean, we don't say that, but I think popularity might fall in the same category. That here are things that you can use to determine popularity. We're not saying whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's certainly a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of the implicit, some metrics are naturally like carry no value statement. Maybe not.
Yeah, some might carry like commits carry a limited value statement. It's like it's a commit. That's it.
Yeah,
you can draw your own conclusions about that.
And some will edge into
popularity is fundamentally a comparative metric, right? Like you're only popular if you are being pursued more often than others, right? Like so it for me, like any of these metrics on their own, like stars, forks, commits, not the most interesting. It's like you have to cross like some magical threshold where you are thus popular. Like we could say like any project over 1,000 stars is popular. Like, oh, we don't necessarily need to say that as like a truism, but like there's that sort of energy floating around this. I don't really know how to capture that.
Yeah, we would probably not say that last statement. We would just say stars are a measure of popularity. I'm sorry, Sean.
Can you scroll down a little bit, because I'm not able to see the base.
Oh, there's nothing much to show.
So I mean, I would just add to base metrics things like number of pull requests, number of issues, number of comments on pull requests, number of comments on issues, because I think popularity is also a signal of engagement. So like there are thin and deep expressions of popularity, and we're not drawing a value judgment about which are thin or deep, but contributors and forks and stars, I don't see stars on there yet, are contributors. They are measures of popularity to some extent, but I think also the number of pull requests, issues, and comments are additional indicators of popularity. And people can choose to, I don't know if these belong under filters perhaps more than formula, or is this do filters no? I'm losing track. Is this the current template?
This is the current metric, but I'm happy to
This is an old template.
It's an older template.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, because I'm not seeing the same headings as I'm used to seeing when we do this. So like basically the things that I'm stating that you would add would be filters in the new metric template. So a person could operationalize popularity only as stars or only as forks, but they could, and then they would just say that this measure of popularity is implemented using the CHAOSS metric with these filters. And I think so, and I think I was having a discussion based on the new template without realizing until looking at it, I was looking actually at the old template.
I just put the new template in the chat. Oh, you got it.
Yeah. So, okay. I think I would need an example of migrating from old to new before I'd be good at it. Sean, would you have a chance to be able to open a PR transitioning from
Yeah.
old to new on this one?
Yep. I'll do that right now while we're talking about.
Okay.
There's more.
There's no model. Go ahead.
I presume there's more things that are on this agenda, so I can be working on that while we're going about our other business.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Matt, there's no like graceful way of doing like old template to new template. It's just kind of brute forcing the two together. So
yeah, I was thinking like, well, Sean's knowledge on Augur is, second to none, really. So the idea of knowing like what things to categorize as a filter as opposed to
and frankly, almost all of my work on metrics and measuring things through trace data is based on being clear about ontologies, because the way that you name things implies an epistemology. It implies a value system about what it is you're trying to measure. And so maybe sometimes I get a little too anal about it, but that's when I'm talking about metrics, like I'm really thinking about the words we're using and what they mean. Maybe too much.
I'm into it. Like I think words do change the way we think.
Can you post the minutes for? I think I joined shortly after the minutes were posted.
Sure. Trying to get the chat while screen sharing is
or anyone can
not graceful. Here we go.
No, not even close. Thank you.
You bet.
Georg had a comment.
Yep. What's up, Georg?
So the pull request for adding the focus areas is complete. So Matt had created a PR for updating the README that is in the root folder. And I took that to create the structure for the focus areas. So if you can merge those two pull requests, then as Sean and others are working on the metrics, the pull request can already add it to the correct focus area folders and link to the files properly. That was my comment.
Fantastic.
And the other comment is the project popularity is not a released metric. So
that's
if
good.
we do pursue it, we do have a new metric for this release.
Good. It's okay.
Thinking aggressively. Yeah.
Great. I use the draft feature. I haven't seen that.
Oh, I can move it out of draft.
I think I can through the review process.
Okay, I moved it out of draft mode.
Questions?
My recommendation on project popularity is to not try to push it for this release because we don't meet again for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And these have to be done by the 24th, which is next Wednesday. And I would propose that we think about just releasing it even on August 2nd.
Sure. Yeah, that's no need to rush through this. I think being attentive to the detailed changes here are what matters. Okay, and TBD, is that the normal placeholder for when we don't have a metric?
I don't know what to put there right now.
Fair point.
And it's not going into the release since we don't include empty focus areas that don't have a released metric.
That looks legit. Okay, I added one correction on a typo, but otherwise
I saw that, thank you.
Yeah, the suggestion feature is just magic. All checks have failed. My favorite.
That's when you do the suggestion commit.
Oh. Should be able to squash and merge it though. It works in Kubernetes.
I think we can remove this requirement. I'll just set the DCO to pass, and then you should be able to squash and merge it. There.
There you go.
If you squash and merge it, then it does have the DCO sign off in the squashed.
No, let's not squash. Let's rebase. Oh wait, but then I'm gonna steal it. Never mind. There we go. Rewriting some history.
Awesome. Now we have a good repository where we can sort the metrics back into.
So my my one in the remaining time is we have to signal to Kevin that this needs to be updated in the release. And we've never, I haven't really thought if this can follow the same process as a metrics release.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like normally we kind of say, here's a metric, put it in. So any thoughts on that?
I think we can open an issue saying new focus areas in this release, have that be part of the review cycle.
Okay, so just tag Kevin in that issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we do that in value group or in somewhere else?
In the value group.
Okay.
I can create the issue.
Yeah, please. That's great. I think we can also close rebasing focus. Good. Oh man, did a thing. Okay.
This is good. This is really
this
good.
is great. None of you are comfortable closing this in favor of what we've done?
Yes.
Oh yeah, totally closing this. Focus area. Oh man, this
Another
is so
focus. Another one.
Yeah.
You're on a roll.
It's so satisfying. Gotta squash them
Especially
all.
when you could just you could just copy and paste your response to all of these issues.
Yeah. All right. Okay. That's something
that can stay, I think.
Yeah, reframing existing metrics into new mission.
I think that can close too, can't it?
Yeah.
Nice.
I
honestly, this is if this is the accomplishment of today, this is a good accomplishment in my mind.
Yeah, totally. Okay. I think we have squashed everything we can squash.
Did you open a new issue, Georg? I should look.
You did.
Yes.
Okay.
And you tagged it metric release candidate.
I gotcha. Okay, cool.
Thank you for that. Oh, this was so satisfying. Thank you.
Yeah.
This I feel like we just finished a large emotional labor of love.
Yeah, well, and now the repo is in line with the spreadsheet, and we have the focus areas. We've taken all the existing metrics and found a home for them.
Yeah.
And cool. I agree.
So we still have the action item of actually moving the metrics into the new structure.
We can do
Correct.
that now too.
Yeah.
We have 10 minutes, 9 minutes.
I'm into this. Who's on point on the PR?
I don't know how to move files using the GitHub interface.
I was just gonna say, how do you do this? I'll do.
You can't smoothly. I can do it from the terminal. CD. I'm gonna get reset-hard origin master because we did a lot of stuff. Okay.
And then while we're doing that, we can also remove the archive note from the top of the metrics.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm happy to screen share if you want to watch me edit a bunch of files, but just know that I'm doing that right now.
Totally fine.
We'll just keep asking you questions and make you count from 10 backwards.
Yeah, do as many digits of, I can't even say I'm all doing this. I was gonna say, I'll try to go through the digits of pi while moving files.
I could not do two things at once.
No, same here. Okay. Then if I code opens folder, so many things no longer archived. Okay, archive. So the only thing is, each one of these needs to ask a question. Do I need to list its focus area in the metric itself?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah, the classification's implied by the location, right?
Okay. Yeah, I will just share for the sake of. Yeah, so that's what it looks like to date. Yeah, I'm not going to do any improvements. If we need iteration, we can do that elsewhere.
Yep.
Are you working on the latest version of the repo because it doesn't have the focus area folder yet?
Oh, thought I did a shoot. What did I do? I thought a get reset origin would capture that. I will figure something out real quick. There it is. Thank you.
Yep.
Let me see. Git log. The last pull request was 93. Structure 93. Okay, now we're good.
And so labor investment. Oh yeah, no, you can do that first.
Yeah, just gonna get rid of these tags while I'm thinking about it. Okay, and then this job opportunity goes into individual.
Individual.
So let's begin. Labor investments. Oh, I forget which one. Labor investment. How many?
Organizational.
Yeah. Demand is individual.
Yep.
Project velocity was organizational.
Communal. Communal value.
Development speed for an organization. That might need some
and
reframing.
then the social currency metric system is also communal value.
That's under labor investments in organization. And then social value. It's here, and then metrics. Popularity is still stuck. This is communal.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And then
that's it.
Within the focus areas, there are readmes. So if you go to individual value, there's a readme.
Mm-hmm. And then link it.
The names should link to the files, to the markdown files.
Yeah. Thankfully, I have a great plugin for that.
Excellent. Makes it so easy.
Life is all about the plugins, baby.
Yeah, for real. I say, and then it doesn't work.
While you're doing that in this, Matt, in the spreadsheet, we have a bunch of crossed out metrics.
Mm-hmm.
Can I remove those, or did the cross out signal something?
I truly don't recall. Let's take a quick look.
I can say something to that.
Yeah, please.
So last time we were discussing that these are either captured somewhere else or not really value metrics.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they are components that inform our metrics. And so we crossed them out to signal that we would not take them on, but we haven't removed them just in case we want to make sure that they are already addressed in other in other working groups.
Okay. So just leave them for the time being.
We can leave them just to make sure that we're aware of them, or we can remove them and hope that they magically show up in other working groups sometimes.
My only hesitation with leaving them is it's a marking.
It's confusing.
It's not consistent with the other tabs.
Yeah. So labor investment by, and then we just have to make sure that labor investment has filters for all of those. So that labor investment has a filter for commits, issues, pull requests, organization.
Okay.
And then we can remove those in blue here, line 26 to 30.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. And then, I get commit -- sign off. Is that how you do it?
So these lines 22, 23, 24, I think they're already covered by the evolution metrics, commits, issues, pull request. Oh no, pull requests is a new metric in common. No, forks is a new metric, but we already have the pull request metric. So I think we can just get rid of these.
These?
22, 23, 24.
Okay.
And then Kokomo was the one that Sean had mentioned, possibly asking the common working group to take on.
Okay.
Well, yeah, the question was, is there a threshold, like if any two working groups want to do it, does it become a common thing, or how do we want to manage that? I know it's already being developed in common. So
Kokomo?
Do we want to just throw it? Yeah. Do we want to just have this, like, I could have the working group that's doing it in evolution just simply implement it, and then during the review period we could say, hey, let's make this a common metric. Or I'm just trying to talk through the process so we don't spend a lot of time coordinating. Like in the case of forks, it's pretty easy because there's like 3 working groups. It gets a lot easier.
Yep.
I don't know if value really has a big interest in Kokomo itself as a value measure. So I'm fine with evolution leading the charge, and then if we need to move it later.
Okay.
So just like you proposed.
Yeah.
Sean.
Yeah. And it's the case with Kokomo is you can use it to calculate labor investment. And that's where maybe it's a value metric, maybe that's not where a value is headed, etc.
Makes sense.
And I've converted, I haven't finished the metric for popularity, but I have converted it to the new template.
Cool. That's huge.
And so I'm gonna do a pull request.
Yeah, if you pull a request in place, we don't have to, accept it, quote unquote, just yet.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's just going to be a
iterative improvement.
Updated template with content.
By the way, I got the PR in. It's 96. If Georg or Matchy, you want to do a review?
Taking a look now.
97.
Look at this. This is by far the most work I've gotten done in a meeting this year.
It also accounts for all of the preparation work we've done the last couple meetings.
Yeah, it's been a good 2 months worth of labor to get to the point of doing this, but you gotta love that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, and it's not finished, but the template's updated, so we can discuss it at a future meeting.
I merged here, Sean.
Really?
Quick.
You're kidding, right?
I thought that's what you were asking.
Yeah.
That we would just merge it and then
deal with it later. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No, that's fully.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, because I mean it's not released or anything. Now it just lives.
Yeah.
In the repo. So no, I wasn't kidding.
Good. Okay. Well, we're a little over time, so just want to thank you all for a ton of work that got us here, and especially Matt G for taking point on quite the Socratic method of getting to focus areas. It was very
let's get that done.
Helpful. Yeah. Right on. So good. All right. Happy releasing for those that are part of that release cycle, and talk soon.
Talk to you.
Take care of yourself.
Bye.
All right. Thank you.